Hey guys, welcome to TRD Reloading. I am the Reloader Dude. Today we're going to be doing a beginning reloading series startup. We're going to be starting with 223 Remington. We have some cases. We have our Lee single stage press. We have the number 4 Lee shell holder. And over here we have the turret setup. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is we need to explain why we have a big glare here from this big window and a big glare over there from that window. It's just the way it works out. Sometimes you have a sunny day here, and when it's sunny, there ain't nothing I can do about it, except the glare on my head. But you know what? We're keeping that around today. I don't care how many hats Loads of Bacon sends me. I am still going to have the glare on my head because I can never seem to remember a hat. That's what happens when you get old. All right, but let's get this started. Okay, with the Lee die set, this is a 4 die set from Lee for the 223 Remington. The first thing that I like to do is I like to take my breech lock Challenger press. With the breech lock, you have these little bitty sleeves, is what I'm going to call it. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to screw in the die until it touches the shell holder. Okay, so we're just going to screw in the die until it touches the shell holder. Once it touches the shell holder, we're going to bring down the lock ring and we're going to secure it. Let's see if I can find some tools here. Just give it a little tug. It doesn't require a lot. You don't want to jam these in there so tight, but you want to make sure that it is snug. Okay, with the Lee type presses, there's no need to worry about cam over. On the Redding press, you would have to worry about cam over, but on the Lee press, you don't really need to worry about that. Just make sure that you're getting a good contact with the shell holder. Now, this is a full-size die for the 223 Remington. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to set up dies for resizing. You can either set it up to resize the whole case, such as this, or you can set them up to just to resize the neck, or you can set them where you can push back a certain length to fit your rifle. There's 1,000 ways a Sunday to set up a Resize die. But for beginners, we're not going to worry about how much we're pushing back the shoulder or what our neck tension is. We're just going to basically set it up to factory spec. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. We're going to come over here and we're going to get we have some Imperial sizing die wax. And then I have, here is a dry media neck lube, and it goes into this little canister that has these, I would call them little pellets. It's the best way to explain it. But that is what it does is it has graphite in there. And what you're doing when you do this is you're lubing up the inside of the neck. If you were to put spray-on lube or regular lube on the outside of the case, I'll never get this open. And then you put some of that's going to go on the inside of the case. When you do that, either you're going to have to re-clean your brass or you're going to have powder stick inside. Okay, so you just put a little case wax. It doesn't require much. So I do the dry neck lube on the inside and then a little Imperial sizing die wax on the out. Because this is a brand new die, I'm going to go ahead and put a little extra lube on the case. You don't want to over lube it because you'll get dents in your shoulders. But the first thing you want to do is you want to take your brass and you want to clean it with whatever your method, either through wet tumbling or through dry tumbling. People ask me what I use the most, and the answer is both. If I'm going to make a lot of cartridges, then what I'll do is I'll just run them through dry media, and I can run them in a progressive fashion. If I want a clean case because I'm trying to develop some accuracy and develop some consistency, then I'll wet tumble them. Each his own on that. They both work. Okay, so we have the case lubed up, and we're just going to full length resize it. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Just push the case all the way down. Now this case has been full length resized. The next thing we want to do, and of course I do not have any handy, be right back, is you want to get some paper towels or a rag or your choice and just wipe off the lube. Okay? So wipe off the excess lube. And that's all it is to resizing a case. Okay? So now we have one case completely resized. Okay, we're going to do another. So you take your case. I like the dry media from Redding. It works really good. It charges the inside of the case. As you can see, we didn't have to worry about it sticking at all. Get a little imperial sizing die wax on my hand, put it in, stick in the case, completely resize it. Okay, comes right out. Wipe it off. Okay, it's ready to go. So that's the first step that I like to do, is I resize them all on the press. If you wet tumble, you would have already decapped them. So on this case, you could decap it and resize it, and then you can either wash them or clean them again, or just do what I do and wipe them off. The neat thing about this Lee Challenger breech press is all you have to do is just push the little button, and it's going to make a liar out of me. Turn the die just enough, and it comes right out of the press. Now this die is set up. So if I would like to use this die again, all I have to do is stick it into the press, lock it in, and we're good to go. We're going to take another collar, stick it in the press, and lock it in. Okay, so it's locked in. So we have two cases resized. Now there's a lot of different methods to trim your brass, but with rifle brass, it has to be trimmed. Okay, so I have this is a Lee quick trim kit. It's quick and it's simple. I also have a lathe type of case trimmer, but for beginners who are just getting into reloading and they're trying to get their first rifle cartridge out and to test it and have some fun, this Lee quick trim kit works great. Okay, so what comes in the quick trim kit is you have a die. So you want to screw it down. I screw it until it touches the shell holder. Okay, then we're just going to lock down the lock ring just like we did before. Okay, so it's locked in. Okay, the neat thing about this quick trim guide is it will only let you trim certain lengths. You can only go so far. So you have to set it up. Okay, all this little piece here, it's just a brass catch, catches your brass shavings. And then this trim piece goes in on the top. Okay, the way this works is it's spring operated. So we stick in our case. We decide what our desired length for that particular cartridge is. Okay, so for 2-tooth Remington, we're going to lower the case. Okay, when you see that you push it in here, the spring action pops up the cutter. This is I use this cutter a lot for 223. I don't like using the lathe for 223 because I shoot so much 223. I want it quick, simple, and to the point. Okay, so there's a little adjustment knobs on here. When you get the Lee case trimmer, just read the instructions, find out what's for you. Push it down, and then all you do is spin the cutter until you can actually hear it quit cutting. Okay, and you pull it out. The neat thing about this case trimmer is not only does it trim, it also champers and devers, which takes out an extra step. If we didn't have that tool or that ability to do that, then you would have to have a champer and devering tool. But with this system, it's just quick and simple. And for beginners, it's an excellent way to get started, okay? So we're gonna put it in our other case, lift it up, push it down, turn the knob until, I don't know if you all can hear, but it makes a different sound. And that case is chamfered, deburr, and case trim. Now let's just test our length. Okay, so we're going to get our calipers. Okay, we need to be at 1.750 or less. If you trim them just to the 1.750, then what's going to happen is every time you shoot it, you're going to have to trim again. I always set mine back a little bit. Okay, so right now we're at 1.745. So this case is 1.745. This case is exactly the same length at 1.745. So you can see that Lee case trimmer does a quick action job for case prep. So we have 2 cartridges here. I have about 25 left to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to resize all these, and then I'm going to trim them to length. This is going to be, it's a beginning series, but it's also one of those things you're going to have a little bit of reloading knowledge. You're going to have to practice it yourself. You're going to have to try it. But trust me, take your full length sizing die from Lee, stick it in your Lee Challenger kit. This is a cheap, inexpensive way, budget way. Okay, you clean your brass first. Make sure your brass is clean, either through dry or wet tumbling. Then you want to put in your die, just this simple. Okay. Goes right in. Take your brass, resize it, then trim it, okay? And that's how easy it is to do case prep for the bottleneck cartridge. So you can do this with any bottleneck cartridge, from 223 Remington, 300 Blackout, 308, 30-06, blah, blah, blah. There's so many of them. But it's just that simple to set up and do. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish resizing the rest of these and trim them to length, and we'll get ready for the next video. All right, guys, appreciate y'all watching. Thanks, and stay tuned. It's not that hard to do, but what it requires is a little patience, a little understanding, a little work, and a little effort. Things aren't going to go right in the beginning. They never do. But I've been doing this long enough that it seems simpler than what it is. But I'm also here to tell you it's pretty simple. It just requires a few basic steps and a few basic knowledge, a few basic cheap, inexpensive tools. Even though they're cheap and inexpensive, they work great. As you can see, both of these the exact same size, worked out great, and they're ready to be on to the next process. All right, guys, appreciate y'all watching. Thanks.